Welcome back, my passive income investors from the great white north where the internet doesn't work too good. So instead, I'm going live today because our internet's down. And I wanted to talk about some stuff and just what's going on here, guys, with these historical moments going on in the market on so many different levels from like crazy trading movements. But the big thing is for us dividend investors, if you guys have actually been paying attention, there are stocks at historical highs right now, primarily in the financial sector. Taking a look at something like a Bank of Nova Scotia, Wells Fargo. I was on a live stream last night just taking a listen to JMac, and he briefly mentioned this and he pulled it off on, I think it's Seeking Alpha, where you can actually see the history of the dividend income. And right now, Wells Fargo is at its historical level for dividend income, or the percentage, anyways, because I think it's over 5% now. BNS over 5%. We had Canadian Imperial Bank well over 5%. So, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the markets. And I haven't done a live stream in quite some time, but I think it's good to point on some of the information. I don't imagine there's too many people floating around right now, considering we're sitting mid-afternoon here where I'd primarily be making my video. But good old internet in the Great White North, guys, it does not work all that well. So get comfy. Take it easy because I am anyways. But taking a look at some of the other news, guys, Tesla's been going through some interesting phases right now, and I've made a quick thing on the comment or the title of this video saying the death of growth stocks, because there's not a lot going good for growth stocks. And what is going on? Christian Gonzalez, hello, buddy. Just chilling today. It's glad to see some of you are actually out and floating about. Figured everyone would be busy right now, depending on where you live. But taking a look at some of these growth stock guys, there's a lot of not so good news coming out with Tesla. I mean, with all this virus stuff going on, I can't imagine we're going to see too much more upside in the near term on things like Apple, Microsoft. We won't know until the first quarterly earnings come out. But with Tesla specifically, competition is starting to creep up. I've noticed a lot of people are finding these private companies that aren't public yet. Uh, Personal day off. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. We're just hanging out right now. So questions and answer period. This is a good time to be doing it anyways. But yeah, so with GM just came out with a new battery pack, apparently that can go 400 miles, which is faster or longer than the Tesla's longest range battery, which I think they said is 390. And they said it's actually going to be more sufficient and it's going to be cheaper than what Tesla currently has. And I'm curious to how fast the competition is currently catching up, considering in the Netherlands right now, Tesla is losing to the competition. They're actually seeing more sales in the Audi electric vehicle than in the Tesla. I think overall Tesla still has more sales, but in the more recent quarters, they've actually been staggering behind. So I'm curious to what this is going to say for the overall Tesla company. Hi from Germany there. We got Fritzy, if I'm saying that right, all the way from Germany, man. I'm actually going to be down in Europe come September here, I believe. I haven't really worked out the dates yet, but I'm going to be down in Europe for a week or two hanging out. I'm going to do some family stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to head down to Germany. I've always wanted to go to Germany because my favorite company, Northland Power, one of the first stocks I ever bought, is doing some massive, well, they finalized those massive offshore wind projects in the North Sea. So I always said when I started buying into Northland Power that I was hoping it'd make me enough money to head on down to Germany and actually check out some of their projects. But maybe we'll add it to the list while I'm down in Europe. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, sorry, I keep getting off topic. But yeah, if you guys let me know what's going on, guys, I'd love to hear from what you're thinking as well. But yeah, so compared to this is definitely the year for dividend stocks over anything else compared to growth. Thanks for talking about buying online businesses through Empire Flippers. What type of business are you interested in buying? Great question, by the way. Sorry, it's going to be a little bit off tangent here because I don't like making dead air. So you might find me kind of filling the gaps. I'll get into the online business in a second. A very interesting discussion, considering that's what I've been primarily focusing on when I'm not doing these YouTube videos. But if you guys have any questions on what is going on with these growth and dividend stocks, I think it's the year for dividend stocks over growth stocks, just for the pure fact that, like, I mean, take a look at the big growth companies right now. I think they're going to be fairly staggered, considering their year-end earnings might be pretty hindered by what's currently going on within the market. But with dividend stocks specifically, just crushing right now, guys. Some of these top-tier dividend companies, like 3M, for example, are paying out those historical dividend yields it's never seen before. So, I mean, if you can dip some toes into those nice long-term growth stocks that have these really high yields right now, I think this is the time to be taking advantage of that, considering we even saw Warren Buffett dip his toes into Delta Airlines. But with the online businesses, I guess I'll touch base on this because I know there's a lot of interest around getting involved. Trying to purchase Wells Fargo. Yeah, I'm trying to buy more, but I'm just finishing up tax season right now. I wouldn't mind trying to pick up it. Well, it's down here for sure, anyways. But in the meantime, I just got to spend the next month finalizing my taxes. But with the online businesses, if I can touch base on that for you, Empire so far has been the best website by far. I spend a lot of time on websites like Flippa. There's the Shopify exchange, which also just sells Shopify businesses. And honestly, it's been an utter nightmare to begin with because there's so many businesses out there that are just utterly terrible. And statistically, they're finally starting to reveal on Empire how much businesses are actually being able to turn over. So if you purchase a business, they're saying that about 30 to 50% of those businesses actually have growth. About 10 to 20% of them haven't grown at all. They've been stagnant since they were purchased, and then the rest of them have actually lost money. So you are playing within the realm of like knowing what you're doing when you're purchasing these businesses. But personally, like if we could just find the right one, we would have pulled the plug already. We found a couple auction sites. We actually put a deposit on one, didn't fall through. We found one we would have bought, but literally within 2 hours of looking at it, it got sold. And if you guys are looking to get into online businesses, if you can find somebody to listen to, because if you don't really know what you're doing, it's going to be very sketchy if you don't have the right people backing you. Considering a lot of people don't understand how websites work, I don't fully grasp, say, things like WordPress, but you can hire on technicians. I mean, I have techs that I'll use if I don't understand something to help me fix problems or do things. And same with Shopify. Like Shopify and GoDaddy are great because you can call their techs and they'll pretty much resolve any issues you have, like trying to set up AdSense on blogs and things of that nature. But overall, finding the right business is very challenging because I'm also very, very picky on what we're looking for. I'm not a fan, even though the turnover is pretty good with things like Amazon FBA. If you don't know what that is, essentially you go find products on, say, AliExpress, things that might be popular, you mark them up, you sell them through your own store, take the commission. That comes with a whole slew of issues, but that's the most popular version of we all know is drop shipping. You can also go down the route of just straight affiliate marketing. If you start a blog site, you can sign up to Amazon affiliates, and then essentially just take on promoting other people's products and take a commission without having to set up the supply chain. I just got a comment there about you guys are interested in starting up a YouTube channel. With YouTube specifically, right now, YouTube seems to be really benefiting people talking about specific niches. And this is going to be the same with the stores. It doesn't matter what you're doing with Google right now. Right now, they're really promoting individual niches, which is why I usually find channels that are really specifically focused doing much, much better. Things like just Tesla videos like Hyperchange, even like PPCEN, which is dividend investing. I kind of hit a broader market, so I find I get hindered on some of my videos. But overall, if you're starting a YouTube channel, man, you just prepare to be motivated, prepare to be patient. When I got into YouTube professionally, deciding to take this seriously, I was advised that don't expect payments for the first year and a half. Don't expect any real money. You're just going to be grinding and grinding and grinding, but hopefully you're going to be able to build up a decent repertoire of videos. And if there's the most useful advice I can give you, whether you're doing blogs, websites, YouTube, learn keywords. If you go on to, there's a lot of tools Google offers. Google Search Console is great for monitoring your clicks and what people are searching to find it. You can also use keyword generators that basically follow certain keywords and actually tell you how many people are looking them up. And if you can't specifically figure out what your niche is and find the keywords that are underutilized, your videos aren't going to get anywhere. Like most of my videos that I post right now, some of them are going to just rank, which means like when I talk about, say, a specific stock like GEO Group, go look GEO Group on YouTube. I guarantee you'll find one of my videos somewhere within the top five. And that's primarily because nobody's talking about it. So I'm able to steal that little bit of a niche in the stock market sector, and it's not going to generate me huge views by any means, but it'll be consistent views that'll generate some of that passive income. But the more like broad topics, like say the video I made on Tesla's release of the Cybertruck, that video was my best viewed video, but it was really quick and over with because it was just a fad. But if you're starting a YouTube channel, if I can recommend anything, it's going to be different for everybody, but try and find a specific niche you can focus on and then really spend some research time digging into the keywords. Google Trends is very useful, and actually see what's going to work for you because it's a really sloppy game of trying to figure out what's going to work. I'm doing okay with this channel. I'm not complaining by any means. It is generating, as you guys see on a regular basis when I show you my YouTube revenue. It's very healthy for what I on. Well, it's not healthy for the time I put in. I mean, I put in like 3 hours a day into a video, and I'm only making a couple $100 a month right now. But when you combine that to some of the sales we get on our online store that bleed over from YouTube and kind of the full aspect of it, I think we're probably generating somewhere between 500 and 600 a month. Well, I am personally between the Shopify store and the YouTube channel. But if you guys can get involved in the digital era right now, spend some time on Empire Flippers and figure out what niche is going to work for you and where you understand best. If I can come back to that topic, what we're specifically looking for is digital product based. We absolutely love digital products primarily because of they have the highest margins of any other product, obviously, because once you've made the product, you don't really have to do any more work other than promote it. You're not managing the supply chain, you're not refilling stock, you're not doing anything like that. Similar to like Amazon Associates would be really good too because there's no overhead. You're just kind of creating the funnel, driving the traffic, and hopefully getting the sales. But it's becoming a bit of a trickier industry, especially in the stock market. I'm sure you guys have scrolled around on Facebook or Instagram and you've seen a ton of ads come up trying to sell you on some stock market program. And you'll notice, even if you remember Ty Lopez and that big fad that went on, even his sales have dropped drastically to the point where everyone is competing really heavily in that niche right now. So if you find those ads, just click on them, read through them, and look at the prices they're charging because they used to be charging a couple $1,000s. Even financial education used to charge some pretty high premiums for his membership group, and now everything is really dropped. I was looking at one today that was an ad, and they were charging $30 for a stock market course. I think what we're gonna, well, I don't want to spoil what I'm specifically trying to do. You guys will see it when it comes live. I don't want to give away all of the golden nuggets of truth here, but got to be a little careful with what I share because the problem too with some of these companies, we look at it on Empire. Usually, when you're trying to do private sales of companies, you can't talk about them. You can actually get fined for talking about them. But I love absorbing and learning, and Empire is letting us because we plan on purchasing a site hopefully at some point. But right now, it's seeming pretty bleak. Just for the fact that it's so competitive on the lower end. We don't primarily want to dump a huge amount of capital into a website. We're trying to allocate this in a way that makes sense to all of us. I do have a few other investors. We have the capability of having access to about 50 to $100,000 between all of us, but ideally we want to kind of start with as little amount of partners as possible, kind of give it a quick test phase, and if it doesn't work out, we all don't lose that much. Because say if we can buy a business for $30 to $40,000 and it's generating about 1,500 to 2,000 a month, I mean that would be the ideal circumstance, and we each chip in about 10,000. And the reason we're trying to do it this way is because it saves us from taking on heavy risk. Because to most of us at our level, and again, this is going to be very a variant depending on your circumstances, but because I have about 6 figures in assets, the people that I deal with, some of them are worth millions. Matt Money, he's got a $500,000 portfolio. So for us to sink in 10,000 each into a business, it's not that big of a deal if the business goes bankrupt or the cash flow cuts off. It's not really the end of the world. Whereas if I were personally to go out by myself and leverage it into a $40,000 business and that business doesn't work out, well, that's pretty painful considering how long it would take me to recoup that. Whereas with a $10,000 investment, I mean, my stock portfolio is still sitting up 14,000 positive on the year. So even if I lost the 10 grand in the business this year and the stock market decided to go sideways for the rest of the year, I would still actually be up a couple $1,000s. So I mean, you kind of got to gauge this out and not do it stupidly. It's the same thing with like real estate, right? Like real estate can be done the same way. Like if you don't know what you're doing and you over leverage yourself in the beginning and one bad thing happens, you're going to be screwed. So if the idea is good enough, you're better off partnering with people, lowering your risk, and kind of leveraging other people's professions and their intelligence, because other people add a lot of value to a business depending on what they can bring to the table. And speaking of that, I want to go back to the stock market topic here. If you guys got any more questions on online businesses, feel free. It's a very popular subject these days, and it's something that I recommend every single person get into because I mean, it's why do you think Amazon's worth billions? Why do you think Facebook and Google are worth billions? Because there's a lot of money moving into the online realm, and that is not changing anytime soon. Actually, before I switch tangents here, online businesses, if you did not know this, work exactly like real estate does. They have some severe equity backing behind them, and it's based off cash flow. For instance, if your business is generating, let's just throw a random example out there, just say $1,000 a month. That $1,000 a month, it could be trading at almost the multiples go between usually 20 to 45 times monthly earnings. So if you were making 1,000 a month and your business was a little bit smaller, a little bit risky, wasn't diversified, it might be able to sell for 25 times that monthly earnings, which is pretty healthy because I mean that would essentially give you what a 25,000 valuation on that business if you were to sell it. But if you get a really solid business, or maybe have multiple businesses and you package them together, they can actually trade at 45 times monthly earnings, and it is slowly going up over time. Considering when I started looking at online businesses, they were trading literally about 15 times earnings. So a business that was generating, say, 5 or 10,000 a month, I mean, you could buy it for 15 times its monthly earnings, which might be a lot. It'd be like 150 grand or whatever if it was $10,000 a month. But in realistic value here, moving forward, if that business sustained over the last 4 or 5 years, now it could be trading at 40 times monthly earnings. And I think people aren't grasping the reality of how reliable and fast online businesses are growing. And it's just so incredible that you can start something with almost zero overhead, create a funnel, and even if you can make $500 a month off of it, the equity value could be worth 10 or 15,000. So long as you have a sustainable income on that. It's going so far, a really easy business model, and I track my expense portfolio via an Excel spreadsheet. It relieves a lot of stress. Yeah, sorry, the comments I can only read briefly because they pop up and go away on this YouTube live stream. But if I can bring them up, maybe I'll try and read some. But let me take a look here. I don't want to get too off subject. But what I wanted to talk about was another company that went public I've been closely analyzing, and that is MindMed. It trades on the NEO, and it's kind of like a penny stock. It went public at I think around $30 million, and the stock was trading at like 40 cents, 30 cents. And when I looked at it yesterday, it was up 100%, which is a really good sign that not all growth stocks are going to be dead this year. There's some really fascinating stuff going on. If you've never heard of MindMed, I just wanted to touch base on it because it's been really fascinating to me. Yeah, pump and dump. I think that's what's going to be happening here for sure. But nonetheless, this company is something that I've been following. I actually emailed them before they even went public to see if I could get involved in some way, because not for the reasons I'll touch base on in a second, but more or less because of the staff that they have on. Bruce Linton, the guy that made me a ton of money in Canopy, actually got headhunted and now works for MindMed. Kevin O'Leary, I'm sure you heard, dumped a ton of money into it. The reason I don't like the company specifically, if you guys don't know what it is, I don't want to get flagged for saying anything, but it's psychedelic related. They're essentially taking these drugs that are like, Schedule 1, really bad substances. The government's really hated, and they realize there's a lot of benefits to them in things like microdosing, and it deals with depression. They found ways to take the hallucinogenic effects out of these drugs and find a lot of positives. The problem with drug companies is they're capital eaters. Drug companies are like trying to hit the jackpot. They take some new idea that no one's really touched base on, and then they spend a lot of money, a lot of years researching, refining. They have to go through drug trials, all kinds of annoying stuff, and then they hope that the drug's capable of going on the public market, where maybe they'll hit the jackpot, and that'll become one of those super popular drugs like Tylenol did or something. But aside from that, I'm not looking at it for its growth prospects. I'm primarily looking at it for the people that were backing the company. And I realized that anybody that's buying into this before the IPO is going to crush it. So I kind of took some initiative and I emailed them and asked them what it would take to be able to privately get involved. And the world we live in, unless you're accredited, you're not really going to have any chance at doing that. So I am not accredited, so there was no way. But at least it was nice to actually talk to them, considering the people on their board. And I've been watching a few videos on them as well. But I don't. I'm not going to touch it now. I mean, it doubled yesterday. The stock went up 100%. I was trading at over $1 at one point, I believe, and now it's starting to pull back a little bit. The valuation on it was absurd. It went from 30 million to over 100 million briefly. How did you become accredited? I'm not accredited, but how do you become accredited? I do believe you need to be making at least six figures a year consistently for 2 years, or you have to have over $1 million in the bank. So if you are interested in coming accredited, good luck. You need to be a big baller to be playing in that game, which it's kind of annoying. I remember I was watching Hyperchange briefly talk about becoming an accredited investor, because it doesn't seem almost fair that you have to be playing. Yeah, you got to be making 100K a year there, and anyone. I'm pretty sure it's minimum 100, but I could be wrong. It might be a couple 100,000 a year consistently for 2 to 3 years before you can become accredited. And I've had this issue in the past because I've called private mortgage companies that deal with real estate, and I wanted to try and get into these companies privately because I really like their balance sheets. And when I called them, they wouldn't even waste their time with me because I have high risk to them, which essentially means you don't want to be taking money from somebody like I don't want to say me because I'd be reliable. I'm not going to give you money and ask for it back in a month or a year. Through your own business or investments, no, 100K a year through specific income. Like you have to have proof. It doesn't matter where it comes from. You could be making six figures a year day trading, but so long as you can prove that's your income and you're actually pulling it off the table and it's in your accounts, and like that's what you're claiming to the government. That's when you get accredited. Um, but yeah, I've had huge issues with this in the past. It's really annoying because, like I said, if you are somebody that has saved up a decent amount of capital, like in my position, or you're just somebody that knows you're going to be putting the money toward an investment for 10, 15, maybe even your entire lifetime, and it's going to be that you're going to be reliable, but they don't care. They don't see reliability in you because, heaven forbid, say you get hurt, something happens at your household, and all of a sudden you need access to that capital. They don't want you coming back on them, reaming them out, saying, I need my capital back because they just don't want those issues. Grant Cardone, I think, was one of the first people I've ever seen to offer non accredited investors into real estate deals. Mind you, that comes with a whole amount of stipulations. I've read through some of Grant Cardone's stipulations, and I think you actually end up paying a higher premium or a higher fee for trying to get access to those real estate deals. Um, but overall, it's kind of an annoying deal because some people, I think, in situations like I'm in, and there's a lot of people like me, that just it sucks because you see value in these businesses, especially like I said, like MindMed. I went out of my way to get a hold of them to see if I could even throw a bit of money at it before they IPO'd, and they were doing angel rounds. They just told me I had to be accredited, and that kind of slammed the door in my face. Not that the company's good. I don't think the company's good by any means. I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge. I have about 65K in cash on the sidelines, and I've been dollar cost averaging 1K to 5K every month in the M1 Finance dividends. And you also have a duplex. My goodness, sir, you are crushing it if you've got a duplex set up. I was talking about this the other day because something came up on the news where this lady she was a real estate advisor in Ontario. And she says if you want to buy real estate right now in Ontario, you're probably better off leaving the province to find deals. It really sucks here for real estate, man. Like I live at home with my parents. Talk about this once in a while. Great people. Getting a little annoyed at living at home. Now I'm kind of ready to move on, but it's the debate of frugality versus savings here. So I hate Canada right now when it comes to real estate. It's crazy. I think Toronto real estate's up again. The average condo right now, 500 square feet, I think is selling for $700,000. I always joke because move to Quebec. I know I've looked at real estate in Quebec. It's way cheaper. Same with like a lot of places. But the problem is I don't want to be away from civilization in a sec. I live on a farm, people. Like I live out in the middle of bloody nowhere. Maybe if I get motivated, I'll pick the camera up and I'll take you guys for a little trip outside to show you what my conditions are like here in this snowy time. But yeah, no, I'm already an hour out of the city, and even an hour from Toronto up north, where I'm on a 60-acre farm here. The properties are still insane. Like the average property out here is $400,000-500,000 for not much. You might be getting 1,500 square feet if you're lucky, which blows. Like it's crazy to me. I could go to Florida right now, and in Florida, I'll read this real quick. I'm in Oregon. I bought a duplex for 250K. They rent for 950 a unit. I'm living in one of them. Oh my God, man. That is like the best situation you could possibly be in. That's what I've been looking for. If you can find a duplex and live in half of it, not only are you getting incredible tax benefits, you get all these deferrals that you can sink into your property, doing value adds. It's probably the best situation I think you can be in. But where I'm at right now, guys, I got what 140, 150K in the bank. That isn't even a deposit. Like that's barely a deposit on a $500,000 mortgage. It's crazy. I could go down to Florida right now where homes sell for 100 to 150,000, same sized homes, and I could probably buy 4 or 5 of them. I mean, if you're leveraging 20%, 20 or 30,000 a pop, you could easily buy 4 or 5 homes there, which would be a whole different thing altogether. But I'm gonna finish up here, guys. We're going for about 20 minutes here. I don't know. Do you guys want me to step outside real quick? Do you want me to take you on a little bit of a tour here? Let me know if you guys want. Slap the like button, and maybe I'll walk outside real quick before I finish up because I'm on my LTE right now. But yes, some of you want me to go outside. I don't know if we want to do the trip outside. Maybe we'll do the trip outside. Sure. All right. So this is going to be a bit of endeavor. We're going to have to do a little bit of walking here, guys. We're going to have to go behind the hidden curtain here. So bear with me. Bear with me here. And I'm breaking everything now. Thanks to you guys, I dropped my whiteboard. Just bear with me for a sec here. Let's get outside. Yeah, sorry, I'm taking the guys outside real quick. Going for a bit of a walk. Sorry, guys. One sec. One sec. Doing the endeavor. I'm breaking my house because of you guys. I hope you're aware of that. I just dropped my whiteboard getting out. But so this is the Great White North here. But maybe I'll walk around and show you guys some of the stuff. So yeah, so this is the 60-acre farm that my parents own, about an hour north of the city. It's actually really nice out right now. Just drawing through the airline stocks. Yeah, airline stocks are just drawing thoughts. So with airline stocks right now, I commented on it already. Incredibly cheap deals right now. I mean, you can see Warren Buffett picking up the airlines for specific reasons. But maybe I want to take a look out here and show you guys what my mom does for a living. Because my mom's in an industry most people probably aren't too aware of, which is sheep, which is a very interesting niche industry. Oh man, I can't believe you guys are getting me to go all the way outside out here. Let me crawl over here real quick. Show you. I don't know if you guys can hear the noises in the background. It is peaceful living for sure, but unfortunately, my life is primarily related to the city. I work in the city. I'm driving to the city at least once or twice a week. My girlfriend's down there as well. It's not freezing actually. The weather is insanely nice today. It has been cold. We hit minus 30 a couple weeks ago. If you guys want to see the sheepdog, got a sheep puppy over here. Yeah, buddy. He's the protector of the flock, as you could say. But yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna finish it up here. I do enjoy the lifestyle out here is nice, but that's why I try and make money online. That's why stocks are so great, because when you get in a situation like this where there's not a lot of work, it really helps out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video today because I can't get access to my internet, so we're using the LTE today. But stay cool, stay awesome, guys, and I look forward to chatting to you real soon. We'll figure out how to kill the live stream here. Say goodbye to the dog. Bye, puppy.